New iMacs, eh? Some might find that exciting. Unfortunately, I'm a MacBook Pro user, so not that exciting. However, I did notice 5 little details about the new iMacs that I think might have ramifications for future products and interesting and good to know if you're looking at buying this particular iMac. Let's dive in, shall we? Little detail number 1. It's really what's missing. Where's the 27-inch iMac? This new one that's just been released is a 24-inch. What I believe is this is just Apple's rollout strategy for the M1 chip. They're starting off with all the low-end machines. There's less development required. The new iMac is essentially the same as the Mac Mini and the MacBook Air, but in a slightly bigger enclosure. They all have similar performance to each other. They all have similar graphics. They all have similar ports. They still list the 27-inch Intel iMac on the Apple website separately from the new 24-inch M1 iMac. I think in time they'll replace the 27-inch with either a 30-inch or another 27-inch. That'll have more beefy capabilities, better graphics, and all the other things we expect to see in the more pro machines. Okay, item number 2. When I looked at the press images, all the wallpapers and desktop pictures looked really familiar, and I was trying to pick where I'd seen it from. After a bit of Googling, I discovered these desktop pictures look remarkably similar to macOS 9's desktop pictures. This is about the era when they were releasing the new iMacs, and I just have a feeling they're paying homage to the original colourful iMacs that were released. So it kind of makes sense. Item number 3, the keyboards. So, the new keyboards with Touch ID built in. Very relieved to see they've got the numeric keypad version, nice and long. That's the style keyboard I've been using my entire life and I want to stick to it. I was very relieved when they released this original keyboard. It took them years and years to make a wireless version full-length keyboard. This new one is not available to buy. Now this has been quite common with the iMac Pro, for example. They made a dark grey keyboard for it. This was not available to buy until a little time later, and I suspect they'll do a similar thing with these new keyboards with the Touch ID. I wouldn't pay too much for one of these on eBay quite yet. Let's have a look at the port situation, and it's not great. This is unfortunately going back to the design of the, what essentially is a MacBook Pro at the moment, where you've got 4 ports. Except on the 16-inch MacBook Pro, they're all Thunderbolt ports. Whereas on this iMac, we've only got 2 Thunderbolt ports and 2 USB-C ports. Now what's interesting is the Mac Mini released earlier, M1 Mac Mini, has also got 4 USB ports, 2 Thunderbolts, but 2 USB-A ports instead of USB-C. So, if you've got old hard drives lying around, you want to plug them in, unfortunately for this iMac, you'll have to buy some adapters. And this is really annoying because the people who are likely to have old equipment lying around are the non-tech savvy people. Family and friends who aren't really computer geeks. They're the ones with this old equipment lying around. They haven't bought a new USB-C hard drive. All they know is they're upgrading their computer. They've got a hard drive to get their backups, and suddenly there's no plug for it. So it's really annoying not to see USB-A ports on the back of the iMac. And I can understand they're trying to make this thing super thin, and that's probably the reason they're gone. You might have to stick some adapters onto the back of your beautiful iMac if you want this capability all the time. Very annoying. Also missing on the iMac compared to the Mac Mini is an HDMI port. Obviously this has got a built-in screen, so that's less of an issue. But our 5th little detail, which you might not have noticed, the headphone port is still there, and that's great news. So it's actually on the side of the case of the display, which means if you want to have this plugged into your stereo system permanently, you're forever going to have a cable sticking out the side of your screen. Not ideal. You'll have to try and find a nice right angle plug to plug in there. Well, and some other thoughts. MagSafe is back. Hallelujah. I mean, this is a very good sign pointing towards the laptops also getting some sort of MagSafe back. My prediction is some sort of USB plug with a MagSafe connector around it as well. So the colors are great. I really like them. They look great together. Question is, individually, standalone, will they look great? Bet they probably will actually. Fingers crossed they do the same for the MacBook Pros in the future. Alright, well there's our thoughts on the new iMacs. Catch you later. Bye.